take a couple breaths. This is probably the most vulnerable subject that I could speak in front of all of you. So, and I promised myself that I would be super honest and just like transparent with you guys. So I'm gonna take a couple of deep breaths. All right. I wanted to thank every single one of you for being here. It truly means a lot. I wanted to thank CreativeMornings and Malik for choosing this subject that hits home for me. And it's been transformative in my life in a very, very big way. And sorry, I'm so nervous right now. Okay, let me put this away. I have today an amazing, incredible life. I honestly could never have dreamt of. It's, and in my world, it's due to clear intention. And it's taken me a while. When I signed up to do this talk, I did an exercise for me, and it allowed me to do a self-inventory of my life, which in 32 years I've never had the reason to do or thought of doing. And it actually allowed me to be very introspective about what's happened to me. And this whole process with you guys has allowed me to understand what clear intention really means to me and how impactful it has been in my life. And so I treated this key moments of my life, from joy to pain, suffering, love, etc., in a very puzzle-like way, where I laid everything out. Nothing was in order. All my memories were there, non-judgmental, not repressive of anything. And what I saw laid out, it was very evident to me what I saw, which was I had to see the intentions behind my moments. And it was evident to me that the moments chosen in my life, there was a split between them. Moments chosen in my life with clear intention was coming from within. And moments in my life coming from unclear intention was coming from somewhere else. I don't know what, but somewhere else. And ultimately, the best parts of my life so far have been in the clear intention world. And that, to me, I'm never going to go back. And through this process, I was able to define for myself what clear intention means, and how marvelous my life is when you become self-aware, and when you peel back layers, and when you start to understand that I'm not supposed to live the life that I thought I was expected to live, and that I should be living the life that I am. No one else in here knows the reason for my being. And that was very hard for me to understand. Okay, not there yet. Sorry. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit of how it used to be. In 2004, I graduated from high school, and I decided very consciously that I was not going to choose a diploma, a study that I wanted to, that I loved. I was going to go the safe route. I was going to study economics and become I don't know what in business. And that intention and that choice came from my parents, and I love them to death, and it actually came from a good place, but it was an unclear intention because it wasn't something I wanted to do. I wanted to please my parents. I wanted to, I felt in debt to them and their sacrifice for what they had accomplished and the education that they gave me. And so what I really wanted to do is study film. I was obsessed with film. I was obsessed with creative outlets and startups, you name it, in that creative field. I wanted to be a part of it. But instead, in 3 years, I rushed through college into something that I really didn't like. And I got good at math, and I got good at economics. But it was just kind of the way of my life that I was designing. I was designing what I thought should be. And so this leads me to the second unclear intention moment in my life, which was the banking world. In 2007, I graduated. I was 21, and I came immediately back home. My parents had gone into foreclosure. It was a really tough financial situation at home, and we were on the brink of recession here in 2008 in Miami. And I landed a job, and I took it as soon, without thinking. And it was, and I didn't know I was signing my life away for 5 years into this world that I didn't want to be a part of. The best parts of that experience for me were the people that I worked with. And I started to understand how I live my life, my water, even today, is connecting with people. I love hearing people's stories. It really makes me happy just to understand that we're so different and so the same at the same time. It really gives me fuel and energy. And then the other part that the banking world gave me was this new this new love that I didn't know I had for real estate. My 4th year, I started a department of real estate investments in that bank. This bank was a private bank from Spain, and we worked in Brickell. There was about 65 employees there. And I just, I decided to climb the corporate ladder. That was my intention. My intention was to make money, to support my family, and to climb that ladder until, and that was the frame that I had for my life. Get a diploma, get a business degree, get a job, and have a perfect family, and then live that 8 to 5 life, stay in traffic in Miami for 2.5 hours, and, and then your life really is consumed by work, and then it's like the 7 to 10 that you have to yourself, and that was challenging for me. It was very challenging, and it was something that it was propelled by these unclear intentions that led me here. These were all my choices. And my last year at the bank, I fell in love for the first time. I was a late bloomer, and I fell in love for the first time, and this is where I feel like was the game changer in how things ended up being in my life today. The first time you fall in love, for me, it was like a drug. It was so rebellious, fast, intense, young love that it became a necessity for me to operate. It was like this person I gave the power to give me meaning and validity in my life. And that was tough when it ended, because it was very clear to me, even looking back at it, that I was living in the future with him. I wasn't living in the present. And beyond the dishonesty and the betrayal, what was most painful for me was understanding that I was living always through other people's lens. I was never living through mine. And I can never change people. I could never change him, and that was hard for me to understand. So, sorry, I'm not about to cry. I'm just like, this is a lot. And I should turn off this. And so that ended, obviously, and it ended pretty badly, to the point where it was like a snowball effect of all these unclear intentions, all these things that I wanted to control, that I didn't care about how I felt. All these things that happened, it was like a rolling rock, and I really hit rock bottom. God, it's so hard to talk about. Okay, now I'm about to cry. Let me get water, sorry. Okay, this is probably the most vulnerable, talk. Okay, sorry. I fell into a deep depression, not because of the breakup, but because of everything before that I just spoke about. I had a diploma I hated. I had a career that was not fulfilling me or inspiring me. And then I had a relationship that I built. I manifested my own will to placate this perfect frame on this wall that I really wanted. And I didn't know why I wanted it, but I just wanted that perfect picture. And in one phone call, it just disappeared. And it was a snowball effect, and I went into a very deep depression for 8 months. And that was really hard to go through. But I started to understand something. I started to understand that in these web of external desires that I had, it was all conditioned by me, but by these unclear intentions that I had. And so I couldn't live, I got to a point where I could not live in this emptiness, I couldn't live in this misery. And so I remember this very clearly. Sorry, I'm gonna take a sip. My mom walked into my room, and she was like, "That's it. I did not raise this type of woman." I raised a woman who needs to find out who she is, needs to find out what really moves you, and you need to get up. So that's what I did. From that point on, are we there yet? Okay. These were the symptoms that I started to understand of what categorized, unclear intentions and what they meant to me. And all of the 3 moments that I just listed, banking, my diploma, and that first love, in all of these, I understood they were all result-based. College, get a degree that is realistic. Banking, start to make money. And then my first love fit in that perfect picture that I wanted. And I wanted to control everything. That was so evident. I wanted to control everything. And once I found out that I couldn't, I didn't understand what world I was living in. And then, don't worry, this turns into really good right now. And then that moment that I decided to get up, it was, I actually started not for myself, but for my mom. Seeing her witness me in my worst moments was very tough on me, and she means the world to me. So I decided to quit my job. That was the first thing, that was the first step that I decided to do. And in clear intentions, remember, it comes from within. And for me, that was the first process to get me to where I wanted to be. So I left my job in late 2012, and real quick, I had that love for real estate through the banking world, and I was actually really good at it. I started to make other people a lot of money, except for myself. I was at the time making like $37,000, and I had a master's in finance and all this crazy stuff. And once you're in the recession, companies started taking advantage of their employees. At least that's what I experienced. And so I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna start my own firm. And it's gonna be a real estate acquisition firm, and I'm gonna do the same thing that I'm doing in this bank, but I'm gonna do it on my terms, and I'm gonna get commission. And that's exactly what I did. I had a pocket of international clients, maybe 5, that they're like, well, you're leaving? I mean, my money's coming with you because you've made me millions. And that's exactly what happened. I started a company knowing that I had a couple of clients, and I started acquiring real estate that was off the MLS because I had my network. I started scaling that portfolio for them, and then I would sell it. And in a year and a half, I've made so much more money than I've ever made in my life. That I instantaneously, because of my economics degree, I knew how fast this could be in the bank and then leave. And so I immediately invested half of my money into real estate. I did it in Gainesville, where I went to college in student housing. And then the other half of my money went to my dream project that I had, which was Loba. I've had this dream project since I started college, probably. And so I had a couple of slides of, these are all bad pictures, but sorry. This is the first property that I bought. This is actually in Miami, and this is a house in Gainesville, and this is also a house in Gainesville. I got really good at the real estate game. I still am. I love that. That's become a huge passion and hobby of mine. And it also became a safety net. I decided that the only way that I would feel safe to pursue the artistic, desires that I had was to be also realistic about them and to create kind of a safety net of, if I fall, I have something to lean back on, independently my own. And this is why I started to invest in this. And then, as I'm on my way to purchase a property, I see this, which is actually Loba now. I remember my landlord, who's this amazing, kind Indian man who sold, there's a long story there, but he saw something in me I didn't see in myself. And for no apparent reason, I didn't have any history of restaurants. I didn't have enough for the security deposit at that time. And he gave me a chance. And he said, I could see and I could feel. He said that. He said, I could feel the desire for you to build this. Like it's what you need to do. And he let me sign a 15-year lease on this, which used to be his old Indian restaurant called Namaste. And I remember I got the key, and I took my mom to this place, and I covered her eyes, and I was like, guess what? And she was like, where are we? And as soon as I opened them, she was like, what did you get yourself into? And my mom had always, not touching, upon this too much because I really want to do Q&A. But my mom has always been so hardworking, and it's insane how hardworking she is for her family. And she saw that I was on the brink of a lot of hardships. Owning a restaurant in Miami is not an easy thing at all. And it was just something like nagging at me, like, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And then suddenly it just, things started helping me to do this. And one thing led to another, and then I had only $15,000 to fix this place. I remember that clearly. And I was able to transform with the help of my mom, my dad, my little brother, and my big brother, and my friends. This was how we started to build it, and this is what it became. Thank you. And so this place became kind of like a portal of magic, if you may. It started to become this energy where only things that I wanted, only people I wanted to really be a part of my life would come in. situations and opportunities that made no rational sense. Unexplainable, unpredictable things started to happen. This place, my current love walked into this place. It was a moment I'll never forget, and it was a busy night, and objects and noise started to disappear, and I felt that, and that was all the guidance that I needed. And so another amazing and crazy opportunity that happened was Zagat, and Zagat came into Miami, I don't know when, 3-4 years ago, and they did 30 under 30 for the first time. And mind you, I had just built the restaurant. It was like 6 months in, and I guess they were low on 30 under 30, and they heard of me, so they were just like, hey, you want to come in? I was like, sure. And that was the only opportunity I was able to meet friends of the industry. And that opportunity led me there. And they heard of the mom and pop, the mom and pop, but especially the mother and daughter duo, and they wanted to do a video on it. And that video got them 800,000 views back then. It was their top rated video. It was only 5 minutes, and long story short, a year later, they came back to me and they said, do you want to host and create your own show? Like, who says that to an economics major? I don't know where this came from, And only when I share this story, obviously we have time here, but with people I don't know, they're like, what network do you have? Who is it? And I'm like, it's the guy up above. I can't explain it to you. And so they asked me that, and this idea, and I said yes. I said yes because I was self-aware that this was an open door that was given to me, that was meant for me. That's what it was. And so we created the show called Foodways. I did that for 2.5 years. And Foodways has a super special place in my heart. Lobo was the first project that I gave my soul, my heart, everything to, and this was the second opportunity I had to do it again. And Foodways, I got to, sorry, that's Guy Fieri. And this is the magic portal. And this is Foodways. And Foodways, we traveled across the US, understanding food and culture and how it connects us and how it's a fabric, honestly, embedded in this country. It's so important. And the second season becomes a little bit political in terms of it's, this country is extremely connected to immigrant stories, and it ends up being food that we love and that we cherish. And so I think this experience for me was by far one of the most memorable, joyous experiences I've ever had. It allowed me to travel but the best part was meeting all these people who were cooking from their heart and so proud of their heritage, no matter what. No matter if one person came in or 100, they could be the most popular chef to cooking in his apartment. It was, these stories were magical, and they exist. So many of them exist that we had the opportunity. This was in Colorado, and this was an indigenous cuisine, and the energy there was insane. And that's me and Brian, and that's me and Enrique. Barbecue and Puerto Rican food. Oops. And so Foodways lasted 2.5 years. And I say lasted because about a year ago, I had a phone call, and it was Google. Google owns Zagat. And Google wanted me to do a 3rd season of Foodways or have the opportunity to create my own show and produce it and do everything on my own. And then I said, I'll do the latter, and I'll pitch an idea. And the idea for that was something that I had grown up seeing, which was a couple in the kitchen, that's as Kim Kardashian as it gets gonna get. Like it's so intense and it's so real. It's two people that know each other's weaknesses and vulnerabilities and strengths, and they have to live their whole life together. If you work together and you go home together, that's a crazy life. And in my experience, it was, I love to see it. I love the dynamic. And the show that I pitched was called Spark. And it was about chef couples across the US and how they work together, and how love and food actually is another connection that is super, super important. And I have a trailer that hasn't been posted anywhere yet. Is it supposed to start? Sorry, one more?
A lot of people might advise against working with the person that you love, and there's a lot of truth to that. There's also a lot of truth to why you should, because you're stronger together.
The restaurant is a result of shared love.
The same love and commitment we have for each other is the same love and commitment we have for this project, and it's like our child, basically.
The reason why, our food comes across as so good to people is because it's really simple food, which is made with a lot of care and love, and it's not just a restaurant.
Working together and going through these daily struggles together only makes us stronger as a couple.
Our rule is that it's her and I as a team against whatever else happens. United front.
Love is something that you have to build, and I think once you achieve love, it's something that must be maintained.
It's a feeling that is all encompassing.
We do what we do because there's a spark.
We're at the forefront. We're going to start
Thank you. Okay, so, sorry. I do want to share another vulnerable, but actually beautiful moment that's happening right now with this show, which is I finished it, and if I was an artist, right now, this is my favorite piece, right now. It has everything. It has everything that I've desired to paint, and I finished it. We finished production. We sent it out to Google, and they said, "I'm sorry, we just sold the company, Zagat. Zagat got sold to another company, and that company, I got paid. Everyone got paid on the film set, and this new company that owns Zagat now." Decided this is not the direction that they wanted. They were like, this is an amazing, amazing web series, but our direction is completely different, that we want to take the brand. And so that's where it left off. And when I got that news, of course I was sad, and it was a mixture of emotions, but there was such a fulfillment and satisfaction that I had by just doing this and being able to experience that and just have faith that wherever it's going to end up, that's where it's meant to be. And I don't have any regrets. I don't feel anything negative about it's in limbo right now, because I know that this thing is super special, and it has a lot of layers. But that's where it's at, and that's the point of clear intentions, that you're not in control, right? Versus unclear intentions where you're super in control. And I had symptoms of my clear intentions. I was caring about how I felt. I was not in control of everything, and all I could do is do my best, be guided by my feelings, and just accept the way things are, and that's what I did, and that's how you know, if you guys take anything away from my story, I really hope, I really, really hope that that magic does exist in clear intentions. And that in order for it to exist is you need to start peeling back the layers that you think are your core, because it's not. I'm super grateful, honestly. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to do this this kind of exercise for myself. It was pretty revealing, and it's a roadmap for me. This whole journey thus far has been a roadmap, and I know now the things that I do not want to do, and they guide me, and they guide me to the things that lead me to who I'm not to be, who I want to be, and who I really cherish, which is, you know, the person who has always been with me the whole entire time. I just thought it was, you know, someone else. That's it.